Hello, Mike here. I can't stand slow computers and slow software. I need to have everything happen click, click, click because I want to be able to, like you, respond quickly to people that are on the phone or that walk in to talk to me. So we spend a fortune to make sure that Expert Agent goes as fast as possible all the time, and we do occasionally have our little blips a couple of times a year where I'll go find our infrastructure guys or our developers and feel the need to shout at them to demand why I can't get into our invoices or our support tickets quickly enough. Because I don't know if you know, but we use Expert Agent to manage our whole business as well. So any slowdowns that affect the whole system affect us as well. Anyway, I've got some tips to help you to maximize performance, but before we do that, I think it's a really helpful thing to run a quick demo to show you the sort of speed you should be getting. So for this demo, I don't want to cheat, so deliberately I'm using an internet connection via the slowest thing I can get my hands on, and the slowest thing I can get my hands on is this, my iPhone 6, and I've got an internet connection via 3 on that. I'm going to use my normal laptop, which is pretty modern, fairly standard. It's an i5 powered laptop. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, which isn't massive these days, and it's got Windows 10, which I suppose is quite new to some people, and that seems to have quite a good performance improvement, but I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference. I'm also, so that I can avoid any accusations of cheating, going to use one of our biggest customers' data with their consent. They've got 24 branches, they've got 13,000 live applicants, and they've got 9,000 live properties. So when I show you this demo in a minute, it's going to be with a very fully loaded system. So just before we start, let's do a quick speed test to see what we're dealing with here. Just to confirm that I'm not cheating. I'm still connected to Mike's iPhone 6 Plus there. Okay, and this is speedtest.net, which isn't necessarily the best speed checker, but it's okay. And the nice bit is it throws you all sorts of little interesting adverts while you're waiting. Can you fall back on your pension, fix flow, and then nice cases for my iPhone. Marvellous. So begin test. So speed test tests first of all latency, and it looks at the ping, which is the time it takes for packets of information to go from me up to the internet and back. And so 63 milliseconds is rubbish. You'd normally expect to see on a leased line connection something, sorry, on a normal broadband connection, something in the late teens or early 20s. So we've got 5 megabits per second down, and we've got 1.14 back up, which is suitably rubbish. That's good. So that's a good benchmark to move forward with our test. Good. So let's get rid of this, and we'll go to www.expertagent.co.uk in Chrome. Chrome, of course, you need to use with Expert Agent to get complete control over all the screens and things. You can see I've got masses of stuff going. I've got everything in sight open, page tabs galore. I'm running it in a huge screen resolution deliberately, so that, because again, that can draw PC resources out. So log in, here we go, and I'm going to type in my login details. And that jumps me straight into Expert Agent. Good. Okay, so just to make it even harder, I'm going to bring in the quick links on the right hand side. So I'm pressing that button, in come all of the quick links, and you can see that, as you, I'm sure you know, these are a combination of our default ones, but they're also ones that you can make for yourself. If you don't know how to do these, look up quick links in Learning Center, because they're absolutely fantastic. But they do take a little bit of system resource because they're constantly updating every time you go back to the home page. Good. I'll start with a cheaty one. I mean, this is cheating, isn't it? Navigation at the top, Mike Griffiths, there he is, the last applicant I played with. Click, and he opens up. All right, I mean, that was a reasonable sort of speed. Let's look at his events. Okay, there's a few things in there. Let's do a match for him. So matching, match processor comes up. He's got a few matches in already, so I'll do exclude all, and then I'll do reject the excluded ones. There we go. Good. So I'll do a new match at the top. Don't forget to tick the buttons, and I'll press the save button. I'll get an extra line of SQL come up at the bottom. This is just for me to help debug when I'm doing support for matches that may not happen. So we've got some interesting properties. I'll click into one of them. There we go. It's got the pictures, it's got all the stuff. I'm going to book a viewing appointment. That'll drop me into Viewing Planner, and I'll just grab down there and put the viewing in. Good. Whizzing around, isn't it? I mean, that seems okay to me. I must say I'm used to this going a lot quicker than this, because with our fibre broadband connection that we've got here in the office, even with 40 of us using it, it goes quicker than this. But this is all right. So again, I'm connecting via a mobile phone. I'm not using the office internet connection. Now, I know what you're saying. I'm cheating. I'm only looking at single records. Where things can sometimes get time consuming is when you start to look at lots of records. So let's leave all those page tabs open deliberately, and I'm going to press the plus button over there, open up a new tab, and I'm going to get the applicants at the top, an applicant grid. So that is a good test. Oh, and it's not, because I'm cheating. Take Griffiths out and go from there. Let's see what happens. That slowed down a fraction there, but 13,000 records, wow. So I'll type in Griffiths, and press enter, wait time, fraction of a second, click into Griffiths, here comes his full record. Good. Quick, isn't it? I mean, that is, I'd have thought, a benchmark. Pretty reasonable stuff. Before I leave you, I want to show you one thing, though. Everything we've done so far relates to the speed at which you're connecting to the internet. Sometimes when people suggest that their expert agent isn't going quickly enough, they're referring to the speed at which it does letters. Good. So let's do that quickly. Right click, create a letter. This is all still expert agent so far. There's one of the company in question standard letters. When I click it, now at this point we're dependent on your PC. So what happens is the expert agent fills in the blanks and then brings up the finished letter, and there it is. Very quick. It opens up Microsoft Word nice and quickly as well. Here's my letter. I can change it, I can edit it, and I'll just close that down. Good. If your PC is going as quick as that, you've got nothing to worry about. Stop watching this video, it's all fine. If it is not going as quick as that, then stick with it, and hopefully I'll show you some tips and tricks that might improve things for you. So let's have a look together at the issues that could cause performance problems and how between us we can get to the bottom of them and hopefully give you a better user experience. So I'm going to use this diagram throughout the process that we're doing now. Steps 1 and 2 on the far left are the ones that we look after. They're our servers and our connection to the internet. And all I can do is reassure you that we spend a fortune to make sure they're as fast and as reliable as possible. We run the servers that we've got there at about 50% of capacity at any one time, and they've got redundancy, which means that if a component fails, there's a second component that does the same job that clicks in straight away. We've always got our warm backup down in Bournemouth as well. Sadly, we still do get downtime because it's the nature of technology, isn't it? We had something like 12 hours of downtime in 2015, but only 2 hours of those were between 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock during the working day as such. They're normally little blips for a couple of minutes, often when the communications company that we deal with do some fiddling around at their end and pull a plug out or something. They're very frustrating, but we're very honest about it, and if we get one of those, we tweet it and we put it in our learning centre straight away, so you know the problems at our end. Good. So when we step beyond 1 and 2 there, everything else, I'm afraid, is beyond our control. We're happy to try and advise you and give you some pointers, but it was really down to you to try and resolve those issues. And the analogy I use, it's a bit like asking the BBC to give you a hand because iPlayer's buffering or Channel 4's giving you a fuzzy picture. They're going to be like us, sympathetic, but actually in the end there's very little they can do to help. So having said all that, let's look at some issues. Often people tell us that other websites still work well. Well, Expert Agent seems slow, but the BBC's site or NASA's site or whatever we're looking at seems okay. And the reason for that generally is because they're downloading data only. The internet connections are asymmetrical. They send information down the line much faster than they send information back up the line. And if you just go onto a conventional website and click in a few keys and maybe typing basic stuff into boxes, you're sending precious little information back up the line. But with Expert Agent, when you press save in an applicant record or a property record, you're sending vast amounts of information back up the line. There's no way around that because it's what you need to do to save things. But it means that keeping the upload side of things clear and unencumbered makes a huge difference. So thinking about all that sort of stuff, let's start looking at the other side of things. Items 5 and 6 in my diagram. Start at your PC end. Good. Make sure your virus checkers are up to date, because if you don't, then they're probably communicating with the outside world, using up your valuable bandwidth or your processor speed. So get a really good virus checker. Actually, if you've got Windows 8 or Windows 10, the Microsoft one that comes with it seems really, really good, and it takes out one of those layers. I've talked already about the layers in a PC, the operating system, Windows, the virus checker, Microsoft Word, printer drivers, expert agent, right on the very top. Just takes out a layer, and that can't be a bad thing. Okay. What else have you got running on your PC? Are the limited resources that you've got on your PC in terms of memory and things being thoroughly used up by other things? So if you do Control-Alt-Delete on your PC, it pops up the task list in the middle of the screen, and then you can scroll down and have a look and see what else is using resources, and if need be, turn them off, stop them causing you grief, and stop them. Some of them restart when you start your PC up again, and that gets more complicated. You might have to seek a bit of help to sort out auto-starting processes, but that will give you an idea of what's using all the juice on your computer. Good. As I said, upload speed hogs are the most damaging because you haven't got enough upload speed width. So look for the big hogs on your system. Apple iCloud Sync is a nightmare. In other words, that's where you've got all your pictures from your iPhone, etc., synchronizing onto your PC. Of course, it may well be it's not even synchronizing on your PC. If you've let your staff put their iPhones and their tablets and things onto the office network, then it could be the stuff they're doing. They could be sending information without knowing it. So just to give you an example of that, we have poor broadband at home, and I've got 2 teenage daughters, and they're taking the old selfies all the time. And after a full-on day at school of selfie taking, they come back and they walk into the house when they get a connection. And probably for an hour or so, we can do nothing with the internet. And the reason is because they're uploading 20 or 30 pictures each. But of course, they then immediately download all of those to their other Apple devices. So that can be a real hog. In a perfect world, you should ban your team from putting mobile devices onto your office network. Or do what we do. We've got a second network. We've got a completely separate Wi-Fi that we use just to let the team upload and download stuff via their devices. Okay. There are other things that are hogs as well. Dropbox, if you use it, which is a cloud-based storage system, is brilliant. But remember, every time you save a big file on your PC, it has to send it up the line to the server, and then immediately it downloads it again to all of your colleagues' computers. So only use Dropbox and Google Drive and Apple iCloud Drive if you know you've got lots and lots of bandwidth, and it's not going to be a problem. We get away with it in our office because we've got a single fibre optic connection, and that's okay. I mean, there's 42 of us, and we're sharing something like a 50 meg connection, but we're just very careful about how we use it, and it's not a problem. And of course, in our case, we put VoIP-based phones on them as well. So just managing how you use those upload hogs can make quite a difference, I think. Good. Have a look at the way you connect to the router. Okay, you need to make sure you've got modern cabling, because the older cabling was 10 megabits a second, and it's now at 100 or it's even 1,000, and that can make a big difference. It can take out a lot of bottlenecks there for you. If you've got Wi-Fi, just don't use it for work unless you've got a very modern router. The latest one's a tri-band, but a tri-band router will only work if your PC's got a tri-band capability. Most new laptops from within the last couple of years will do tri-band okay. But the benefit then is that it's a much faster connection. You can tell the difference sometimes. If you're cabled up and you try and copy 50 files across your network from a network drive to your local PC, and you do it on a Wi-Fi connection, it'll be super duper slow, and then you do the same thing on a cabled connection and it'll whiz along. Well, it's not as extreme when you're passing data around between expert agent and your PC, but it still works the same way. So yeah, if you can, fix all that cabling stuff. Good. Routers have got so much better. If you've got the router that your internet service provider supplied you with, then just get rid of it. Just get a business one that will make all the difference. Particularly if you've got things like VoIP, voice over IP, doing your phone system, because the new ones can give you things like quality of service that will allocate bits of the bandwidth just to make the phone system work. And that's how we do it. A good router is £150, £200 maximum, but it could make a huge difference to your business. Regardless of the router that you've got though, you need to get someone to have a look at the settings and make sure it's all okay. Okay. In particular, this one, MTU, is one of the biggest killers. MTU stands for maximum throughput units, and it basically determines how big a packet of information your router can push up the line to the internet service provider. So if it tries to push too many packets through at once, the routers at the far end will turn around and say, didn't get that, sorry, send it again. It'll try again, didn't get it, send it again. It will eventually communicate, but it will take several stabs at doing it. If you've bought a router from a third party, and even sometimes if it's an ISP supplied one, the MTU setting will be wrong. They're always wrong because they're built for American DSL systems which have a different MTU to the level that BT Internet, who provide, or BT Open, BT OpenReach, who provide most of our cabling these days, permit. So MTU, almost certainly, if you've never set it, will be wrong, and you won't believe the difference it made. At my house, poor internet, got the MTU sorted out, and I felt like it was a tripled speed connection, frankly. So MTU, in the documentation that we supply further down, you'll see some information about how to get that sorted out. Make sure you've got the fastest possible connection from your service provider. Go and have a look and see if fibre is available to you. Fibre will make all the difference, mainly because of its upload speed. Download's helpful, but it's upload speed that will make all that difference. There's a great website called Sam Knows, and Sam Knows website shows the telephone exchanges and the service providers that are on there and all the information that's available to you from there. Good. I really hope that this has been some help to you. I feel sure that the demo should have inspired you to do something about your own connection if it's poor. You can't survive and you can't work with a slow connection. We make sure the servers run as quickly as possible. Beyond that, everything else is down to you. Get those layers on your PC fixed, look at the connection speed, look at MTU, get all those done, and it should go very nicely. I'm ever so sorry we can't do more to help you, but clearly unless we came and spent time in your office and started pulling out network cables and fiddling around with router settings, there's nothing we can do. Anytime you want to see your own data run properly, you're welcome to come to us. If you wanted to come, if you didn't believe us, come and spend a bit of time with us in our office, where we don't really have great technology, we just have a normal broadband fibre connection. Have a look and see how that goes, and then compare that with your own things. Of course, there's another way of doing a good comparison. Let's just go and work at home. When you work at home, there's a good chance that you won't be having the same issues. The router will be different. Obviously, you still have things like Apple iCloud and Dropbox synchronization that could affect things, but give it a try, and you'll be very surprised in the difference, I'm sure. Good. Okay. Well, I hope all that helps. Thanks for watching.